Hello my sea dolphins! Hey guys, it's me, Seabro, and today we're going to have a look at the 1.17 update, otherwise known as the Cliffs and Caves update, which literally changes everything in Minecraft. So let's sit back, relax, and jump straight into the video. Okay, so there is actually a metric poop ton to cover here, so I'll try to be methodical. I will start off by going through all of the new biomes and blocks and mobs that they introduce. Then I will finish with the more interesting changes to the way that the game works as a whole, as well as a change that has been hinted as possibly the biggest change that will ever happen to Minecraft, that will probably get introduced shortly after the Cliffs and Caves update. So stick to the end for that, but hey, we have a lot to cover, so we better get started. Okay, so first up, let's talk about Lush Caves, because I actually love them so much. They are so pretty and make the Minecraft map a lot more interesting. You can find these biomes under the azalea tree, which is a little tree thing with a new type of leaves called the azalea leaves, which have two variants. One of which notably has some cute little flowers on them, making this tree actually pretty easy to spot. Underneath the azalea tree is a new block called rooted dirt, which is remarkably unremarkable and similar to coarse dirt. Let's take a jump down under the tree. Now we find the actual Lush Cave, which is brimming with wildlife and plants, so let's have a look at some of them. Okay, so first up we have moss. This is actually kind of like a fully sided grass block texture, which isn't that exciting, but the fact that it also comes in the form of a carpet is actually pretty interesting and will allow builders to cover up light sources naturally in the floor. Using bone meal on moss will actually allow you to make another new block, which also spawns in the Lush Caves, which is the azalea, which have an identical texture to the leaves that I have just mentioned a minute ago, but are like miniature shrubs or trees. This will be mega handy in interior decorating, because up until now we've had to make and do with a lot of plant pots and leaf spam if we wanted to add some wildlife inside of our builds. Let's get cave vines out of the way. They are really only decorative blocks that spawn on the underside of blocks. Yes, they spawn glowberries, but they are kind of just fancy sweet berries. Cave vines are a natural source of light though, which makes them a little bit easier for builders to make cave maps. Spore blossoms also spawn on the underside of blocks and give a really cool particle effect, but they really are just decorative as well. Now moving on to the more interesting blocks, we have drip leaves. They come in small and big variants. The small variant, as well as obtaining it using shears in Lush Caves, you can also get it from wandering traders. You can grow these yourself on clay blocks, or if it's underwater you can grow it on several other types. Chuck some bone meal on this bad boy and it will grow into the other type, big drip leaves. Big drip leaves also spawn in Lush Caves and can be really useful in parkour maps. You can stand on them, but not for long or you're going to drop to your impending doom. Shifting on these still works though. The last thing in Lush Caves that I want to talk about is the axolotl. These cute bundles of happiness are one of my favourite mobs in the entire game. They spawn in Lush Caves and have really interesting mechanics. I made a separate video on these lovely creatures, check it out in the description. I will probably chuck a card in the top right or something. In short, they are really useful in raiding sea temples and love tropical fish. But again, I highly recommend you check out my video I did on them for just some more information. That's enough about Lush Caves, let's talk about Dripstone Caves. These are basically normal caves, but inside them spawn dripstone blocks and pointed dripstone. Currently they don't actually spawn naturally in the world, but you can spawn them by making a dripstone only map in the map creation screen. Honestly, I think it's a shame that the textures are so different from stone. They look really impressive on a full cave map when you get large areas of cave, but most caves in the game are just too small for these to look good, in my opinion. Pointed dripstone have some cool mechanics, so let's check them out. Okay, so pointed dripstone are actually very useful. If there is a water block or lava block above it, and a cauldron within 10 blocks below it, with no block in between, then it will fill up the cauldron with the respected block. This is mega useful if you want renewable lava and don't want to travel to the nether every 10 minutes. They can also cause damage. If the top of the pointed dripstone block is destroyed, then the rest of it will fall down and can damage the player. If pointed dripstone is on the ground and you fall on it, it multiplies your full damage by 4, making it a perfect death pit when you cannot be asked to make a 23 block ditch in the ground. Oh, and you can make dripstone block from 4 pointed dripstone. Not much more to discuss, but let's jump straight to talking about the Amethyst Geodes that are being introduced to the game. These are a bit strange, but they add some new interesting blocks to the game. Amethyst Geodes are spherical structures that spawn below sea level. They contain 3 layers. The outer layer, which is made of a new block called tuff, which if you ask me is basically cobblestone. The middle layer, which is made from another new block called calcite, which is basically diorite. And the inner layer, which is made from amethyst blocks and budding amethysts. And on top of that, spawns amethyst clusters. How these amethyst clusters grow is kind of complicated, so I'll try my best to explain. The clusters are like plants and have 4 stages before they are fully grown and can be harvested to make new items called amethyst shards. These clusters only grow on budding amethysts, which rather frustratingly cannot actually be mined, which means you actually can't grow them at your base and actually need to grow them where you find them. I know it's really annoying, but that's how it is. The way that it grows is also weird. Both amethyst blocks and clusters need to be mined using an iron pick or better. If amethyst clusters are mined using silk touch, then it will drop a cluster. If not, it will drop amethyst shards. You can use 4 of these shards to make a block of amethysts, or you can use 4 of them to surround a glass block to make tinted glass. Let's talk a bit about tinted glass, shall we? This block looks a lot like black stained glass, but it doesn't actually let any light through. This is mega useful for XP farms, for example, where you kind of want to see all the mobs that are spawning, but you also want to light up your viewing platform. It is also useful if you want to have windows in your house, but want a kind of moody lighting, like maybe a gothic manor or something. Luckily, unlike glass, you can actually break it by hand, so you don't waste those precious amethyst crystals by accidentally derping your mouse around. Okay, now let's talk about copper. Copper is a new mineral that spawns in caves in a fairly similar way to iron. 4 copper ingots make a block of copper, and when placed, these actually oxidize over time to become exposed, then weathered, then oxidized. To stop this from happening, you can combine it with honeycomb to wax it and stop it from deteriorating any further. From all 4 copper block states, you can also make slabs and stairs, and you can actually make a new cut variant from the block which has a cross in the middle. So this is actually quite a few new blocks of servers and texture packs to play around with. You can also combine 3 ingots together to make a lightning rod, which is actually very interesting. It diverts any lightning strike within 32 blocks towards the rod. The lightning rod then produces a redstone signal. So this is actually mega useful for creating charged creepers if you haven't found a trident yet, and protecting those precious flammable houses that you like to make out of wood. You can also create lightning by throwing a channeling trident at it, so that's very fun as well. You can also make a new item called a spyglass by combining the copper ingots with an amethyst shard, and it lets you zoom in, kind of like Optifine already does. Not overly useful, but hey, if you want to roleplay as pirates, then go get psyched. Well, this video is getting long. Okay, let's quickly talk about some of the other blocks and items. Glow lichen randomly spawns on stonish blocks. It emits light, so it makes caves a little bit more bearable to run around in. It can be harvested with shears and can be spread with bone meal. Powdered snow. This is an interesting one, so hold on tight. You can fill a cauldron with powdered snow by leaving it outside whilst it's snowing. It can be picked up using a bucket, and players and most mobs fall through powdered snow unless using a boat or wearing leather boots. Don't ask me why, just roll with it. If you fall in the snow, you get this weird overlay on your screen and start taking freezing damage, and you will start moving very slowly. Leather armor for some reason stops you from freezing, and snow golems still take damage from it despite being made from snow. It's weird, I know. Candles have also been introduced to the game. Candles are fun. They are made from honeycomb and string and can be dyed to any colour. They can be lit by flint and steel, and you can put multiple ones on a single block. But get this, you can place one on a cake. Happy birthday! A bundle has also been added to the game, which allows you to put things in them as long as it adds up to a stack. So if you have a lot of small amounts of stackable items, then this is mega useful. Glow squids have also been added to the game. They don't currently naturally spawn, but they will in the future. They are basically normal squids, but they glow and they drop glow ink sacs, which can be used to make glow item frames. Why you'd want to add that to the game is beyond me. You can also use them to make glowing signs, which is kinda cool. Sculpt sensors have also been introduced to the game, which detect vibrations from moving, interacting, and things like sound. And they produce a redstone signal, which are stronger when it's closer to the sensor. And you can also use a comparator to detect very specific vibrations. I'm sure this will have a loads of uses that people have yet to comprehend. Rails can now be waterlogged and you can ride minecarts through them, although this will slow you right down. This one will make any survival players smile. Shulker boxes now drop their contents when they are destroyed as an entity, so you can have a chance to save your lost netherite god armor when you accidentally hit Q near a cactus. But like, if you drop it in lava or aren't quick enough to pick it up, then you are still going to lose your stuff, so I feel like they could have just made it indestructible or something. But it's a little bit on the way to making this game a little bit more bearable. You can now enforce custom resource packs in server properties and kick people if they don't download it. So that's insanely useful for server owners. And last, but by no means least, the biggest change that has ever happened to Minecraft, the best thing that will ever happen to this game, the height limit is going to be changed. Currently, they have removed the restrictions on height limit, which means you can use data packs to make it larger, but it is highly expected that they will be bringing this to the vanilla game soon. I don't need to explain to you why that's such a big deal, but Minecraft builds are about to get absolutely insane. But hey, that is it. Thank you for watching. I know that this was a hell of a long video. My script is longer than most students' dissertations at this point. I hope you learned stuff from it though. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you lovely people in the next video. Whilst you are here, you may as well watch this video on the axolotls that are coming to Minecraft, or this video where I give you 3 fundamental tips that will massively help your building in Minecraft. Anyway, bye.